Alrighty, what's up everyone, Mr. Octagonal here from Octagonal Gaming. Now, I recently uploaded the 5 most underrated NBA players. This is pretty much the same thing. I show you the player, I do like 2 or 3 minutes of explaining why. Just obviously, instead of underrated players, we have overrated players. So without further ado, the 5th most overrated player in the NBA is Dion Waiters.
So, Dion Waiters was drafted back in 2012, 4th pick by Cleveland. A lot of expectations, and he got traded like 2 seasons later to the Thunder. And what the heck? Then he joined the Heat. Maybe I'm missing a team. I don't really know. Don't mind the Chris Bosh's here. I forgot to download the offseason roster. But anyway, he signed with the Heat. I guess he signed. I don't know if it was a trade or I don't know how it exactly went. But he's on the Heat, and he does pretty well this season. And yeah, people are treating him as if he's been doing this his whole career. And now he's a new 4-year, $52 million deal, which I think is a little much considering he was only good for 2 months. Did he hit a nice buzzer beater against the Warriors? Yeah, he did. But, you know, he still isn't deserving of that type of contract. He was good for 2 months. Maybe he'll prove me wrong and he will, you know, like, be as good as that contract. However, I feel like some people don't know him, but the people who do know him think he's like really good. He's been good for 2-3 months. You can't judge a book within 2 or 3 pages. Get it? Instead of 2 or 3. I don't know if you're trying to. I think you guys are probably confused by what I'm saying. But let's go to number 4. And that was a brick.
Number 4 is, don't get triggered, but Devin Booker.
Okay, don't get triggered. Why I think Devin Booker is a little overrated. Let me explain. He is overrated for his talent now. He's 20 years old. He can't legally drink. He drops 70 in a game. I'm not going to take that away from him. He will be a superstar in this league. Don't think that I don't think that. I think he'll be a superstar. Or, if not a superstar, then a very good player. He's already shown that he will be a really good player. But people think he's some superstar shooter, which that's his best attribute, but his first 2 seasons, he hasn't been Mr. Super Efficient. He's put up around like 35, 37 in that area percent from 3 this year, which is an improvement from last year, but that's not the percent that the really good shooters would put up, like CJ McCollum here. I can only imagine CJ McCollum's is higher than 37%. I understand Devin Booker's a crazy talent, but to have that type of percentage but still get like 23 points a game, he had to have chucked up a lot of shots to get that. And the Suns really don't have any other options. I mean, other than maybe Eric Bledsoe, they really don't have any other good scoring options. And I know he averaged almost 25 points a game. Don't take that away. I think he'll be a star. But right now, people are overrating him. And if he was on the Nets, he would not put up all-star numbers is what I'm saying. I'm not saying he won't in 2-3 years. He will put up all-star numbers in 2-3 years. As TJ Warren missed it. Booker proving me wrong with the board. How about Devin Booker getting the board? Already on to number 3. Number 3, it does make me a little sad. You will see why after I make this free throw.
Number 3. And before we find out who number 3 is, trust me, it pains me to say this player is overrated. But anyway, number 3 is Andre Drummond.
Okay, so before you say, bro, why are you saying your favorite player is overrated? Andre Drummond is my favorite player currently in the NBA. So why on earth am I saying my favorite player is overrated? You probably think I'm the worst fan ever. Feel free to think that, but he is overrated. People think he's this great defender. Let's compare 3 players who are compared to him and have very similar play styles. Rudy Gobert, DeAndre Jordan, and Hassan Whiteside. There's a big difference between all of them. Gobert, Jordan, and Whiteside are all phenomenal shot blockers. Drummond this season put up 1.1 blocks a game. For a center, especially someone who's supposed to be good at defense, it's not great. That's not great. He did get like 1.5 steals, which isn't awful, but he should be focusing on blocks, not steals. While that's nice, he should be focused on getting those blocks. Offensively, he's not much of an offensive player. He definitely cannot stretch the floor, definitely cannot shoot the three or the midi, really. He obviously can't shoot free throws. He's worse than DeAndre Jordan at shooting free throws, which that says something considering DeAndre Jordan sucks at shooting free throws. By the way, I wanted to wear these uniforms just because I felt like it. Avery Bradley, new Piston. Go Pistons. But scoring, he's not awful. Rebounding, obviously, he's a very good rebounder. He put up about 14 this year. He's always been like in that top 3, top 2, top 4 at worst rebounding of like those Goberts and Jordans and Whitesides that I mentioned. But the difference between all of them is Drummond's not as good of a defender. And 2K overrates him. Andre Drummond in 2K wins Defensive Player of the Year in MyLeague all the time. Don't get it, but it is what it is.
Number 2 is Kyle Lowry.
As you can see, the Raptors got their alternates on. But anyway, with the East getting worse and worse, the Kyle Lowry... I couldn't think of what else to say. Kyle Lowry's going to get more overrated and overrated. See, they got their Huskies stuff. But anyway, Kyle Lowry's going to look even better, which he's overrated. DeMar DeRozan's underrated, Kyle Lowry's overrated. That's simple. DeMar DeRozan's the best player on the Raptors. It's not much of a competition, in my opinion. Some other people might agree, some might not. But, yeah, Kyle Lowry sucked in the playoffs this year. They did win their first-round series against Milwaukee, but then got swept against Cleveland. Lowry was not good in the playoffs by any means. And you might ask me, oh, why is it John Wall on this list? Look at, you know that Game 7 against the Celtics where John Wall sucked? Well, at least late in the game, yeah. But you want to know the difference between John Wall and Kyle Lowry? A, John Wall was good early in his career. Lowry was only good when he joined Toronto. So, Wall's played, what, like 7 seasons? Lowry, his first 7 seasons, he wasn't that good. Then he joined Toronto, and now he looks like a freaking superstar, which he's not. He's a solid second option, but clearly the Raptors have only made it out of the second round once, so that's not much. That's not much. Like, oh, wow, he's a beast. $100 million contract for 3 years? I don't think so. I don't think so. Where were we? Oh, yes, John Wall. You know, I want to know what John Wall's done in his first 7 years. If you look at his numbers, you want to know how many players put up John Wall's numbers in John Wall's first 7 years? Like, if you compare stats to, like, legends? Well, John Wall's the only one. Not Magic, not Stockton. None of those guys have put up numbers like John Wall. I'm not saying John Wall is as good as them. John Wall has never made it out of the second round himself. But he doesn't have the supporting cast like now with Bradley Beal, but he might not like Beal. But anyway, back on Lowry. Lowry's, what, 31? Yeah, in 3 years, he's not going to be as good, and the Raptors are going to be paying him $35 million. I don't really think that's the smartest idea. And Lowry, if he was in the West, would he be an all-star? I mean, yeah, no. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. If he was in the West last year, he wouldn't be an all-star. In the East this year, he will be an all-star because the East sucks. And he's going to be looked at as an all-star. He's going to be looked at as even better as Damari Carroll with a block. But there's only one player more overrated than Kyle Lowry, in my opinion. Are you ready to see who number 1 is? Is Kyle Lowry ready? Nope, but Serge Ibaka is. Alright, without further ado, let's go.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The most overrated player in the NBA is, drumroll please. Okay, fast forward. Blake Griffin.
Before we talk about the most overrated player in the NBA, don't mind that Chris Paul's still in the Lakers. I forgot to download and embrace the Pacers all-season roster. There's no Gallo. There's no that European point guard. Milos I don't know how to... Teodosic? Whatever his name is. Don't mind that they're not on the team. I might make a video on the Milos guy, because he seems pretty good. But anyway, Blake Griffin is the most overrated player in the league. And without Chris Paul, this will prove. I want to make a bold statement. The Clippers will not make the playoffs this year. They're not much worse. They lost Chris Paul, but they added Gallo and Milos. So, if you had to choose, it's kind of hard to, I mean, no one really knows how good Milos is, considering Milos has never played in the NBA, is the GOAT Luke Mbamute. Mr. Frey, but anyway, I really don't think the Clippers will make it. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but they're definitely not going to make it out of the second round. If they do, props to them. Man, maybe it's not the Clippers curse, maybe it's the Chris Paul curse. I think it's more of the Clippers curse. This team cannot get out of the second round. The Warriors and the Rockets and the Spurs, all in the West. The Timberwolves maybe even, the Thunder maybe even, any of those teams. But Blake, let's look at the past few seasons. He's had injury issues. He punched in one of the team's workers in the face. He's not that good. He's a great dunker. I mean, what else? He's a rebounder, a solid scorer, but not great. And people are treating him as if he's good at everything, which he's not. He's not that good. He's not as good as you think he is. DeAndre Jordan's a bit overrated, but Blake is definitely more overrated. Blake is clearly not a first option, and on a championship team, I don't even think he's a second option. I mean, on the team that the Clippers were, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin. DeAndre made the All-Star team this past year. Blake and DeAndre, or not Blake and DeAndre, Blake and CP3, by most people are considered All-Star talents. Chris Paul is. Blake, no, I don't think Blake is. But those three never could make it out of the second round. Does that show something about Chris Paul? Yeah, sure. Show something about DeAndre Jordan? Yeah, sure. But I feel like if the Clippers miss the playoffs, that'll be proof that Blake Griffin is overrated. If the Clippers make it, shame on me. But Blake Griffin is the most overrated player in the NBA. It's pretty clear he's not underrated. It's pretty clear that you give him way too much love, unless you're on the agree with whatever I say bandwagon, then props to you. But if not, then you give Blake too much love. You give DeAndre too much love. You give the Clippers too much love. Is Blake a great shooter? Nope. He missed a wide open three, but then again, so does everyone on 2K, even JJ Redick. So, sorry that JJ Redick's on the team, too. I forgot to mention that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't dislike because your favorite player is on this list. Mine is too. Remember, with Andre Drummond, it's JJ Redick with a sick block. But remember, my favorite player is on this list. So, this is controversial for me. Let alone you. See, Blake missed again. Come on.